Hey, please subscribe my channel, please. She was mocked for being poor, for being a woman, for daring to bring a chipped, decades-old rifle into a shooting range that looked like it belonged in a luxury catalogue. They called her a joke, a relic, a technician from the past dragging embarrassment behind her. Even the organizers had let her compete for the spectacle so people could point and laugh, until she blindfolded herself and fired 10 shots, 10 perfect bullseyes. The crowd went dead silent, because only one person had ever done that before. A legend. Her father. The Silverwood Elite Range loomed in the Virginia hills like a monument to power. Its glass-paneled VIP booths shimmered in the late autumn light, polished steel lanes stretching out like runways for the gods of warfare. This wasn't a range, it was a sanctum. A place where generals swapped secrets, senators flaunted influence, and billionaire heirs played soldier with rifles worth more than luxury sedans. The scent in the air was cordite and old money, the kind of wealth that customized bullets at $200 a round and bragged about accuracy measured in microns. The Silverwood Heritage Cup was the crown jewel of that world, a secretive, invite-only contest reserved for military elite, political royalty, and their hand-picked protégés. In 2025, the cup drew a sea of sharp suits and tactical vests, eyes narrowed, voices low with judgment. Among the names was Zane Whitlock, 34, the reigning champion, son of Colonel Ryder Whitlock, a Pentagon juggernaut. But one entry on the list turned heads. Calla Reed, age 29, no rank, no record, no invite, an unknown, a ghost. Somehow she had made it past the velvet ropes. She stepped onto the range like she didn't belong because she didn't. Her hoodie was threadbare, jeans worn to the knees, scuffed canvas shoes, no logos. Her long, dark hair fell messily over a face that demanded a second glance. High cheekbones, full lips, and hazel eyes lit with quiet fire. She radiated defiance without saying a word. In her arms was a battered old Smith & Wesson rifle, its black finish flaked away to bare steel. The stock was gouged and weathered. Her hands were wrapped in singed burlap covering faint burn scars. Her ammo box was a dented tin relic, packed with outdated rounds. Rounds no one at Silverwood would be caught dead using. The crowd didn't fall silent out of awe. They gawked, whispered, snickered. Victor Kane, 48, a defense contractor who owned a yacht and a senator, muttered into his scotch, "Is that thing from a cowboy movie?" Lauren Hole, 30, a military influencer with a custom Sig Sauer and a family trust, scoffed as her glossy curls bounced. Did she wander in from a thrift store? A clipboard-wielding range staffer leaned toward his boss, voice shaky. "She's got to be a joke, right? This is the Heritage Cup. Not whatever this is." Calla's hazel eyes skimmed the lanes, steady and unreadable. She said nothing. Her silence didn't invite pity, it demanded respect. And you, watching her, you're rooting for her, aren't you? That quiet defiance, that refusal to apologize, that power in not asking permission to exist. The mockery peaked as Calla reached the registration desk, tin box tucked beneath her arm. Henry Caldwell, 60, a retired general turned head judge, eyed her over slicked-back silver hair. "You lost?" he said, gesturing toward the maintenance carts. "We could use someone to sweep brass." Laughter rippled like gunfire. Lauren smirked, polishing her rifle scope with studied grace. "What's your story, Annie Oakley?" Calla just looked forward, still silent, still unstoppable. To register or to dust the scoreboards, no one could tell. Marcus Tate, 42, a hedge fund shark who'd bought his way into the competition, slow-clapped from the VIP booth. "That rifle belongs in a scrapyard," he drawled. "Try eBay. Maybe someone wants a souvenir from the Wild West." Calla unwrapped the burlap from her hands. The The scars were unmistakable, proof of pain, survival, and something more. Her ammo box creaked open, revealing hand-loaded rounds, brass dull but flawless. Every bullet a defiance. She loaded her rifle with quiet precision, unbothered by the jeers, her fingers steady as stone. At the registration table, she set her gear down just as the arena's announcer, Paul Grayson, 45, ex-military broadcaster with a voice like rolling thunder, seized the mic. "Ladies and gentlemen," he boomed, voice soaked in sarcasm. "Seems we've got ourselves a vintage collector. Give it up for Calla Reed, gracing our $1 million range with a relic straight out of the Old West." The crowd erupted. Mocking applause, cowboy drawls. "Yeehaw!" someone yelled. Grayson leaned in, twisting the knife. "Let's at least admire her courage. Bless her heart." Calla's hands froze over the ammo box. Her hazel eyes didn't flinch, but the fire in them sparked. From the stands, Lauren Holt cackled, "Play her some banjo music." Inside, Calla's thoughts sharpened into steel. They've turned me into a sideshow. I'll turn their laughter into mourning. The crowd's cruelty bloomed, thick and choking. The announcer's taunts, the audience's gleeful scorn, an execution in daylight. Their humiliation of her was deliberate, almost ritualistic. Zane Whitlock watched from the edge of the range. Dressed in tailored tactical black, his green eyes were ice. At 34, the Pentagon golden boy and son of Colonel Ryder, Whitlock had everything: legacy, training, polish. A 3-time Heritage Cup winner, he was the untouchable king of Silverwood. He glanced at Calla and smirked. "I don't shoot against museum displays," he said, loud enough for the crowd. The stands roared in cruel approval. Henry Caldwell, the lead judge, chuckled under his breath and leaned toward his co-judge, Ellen Pierce, 52, former Army captain and Whitlock loyalist. "Let her shoot," he murmured. "This'll be a show." Before her turn, Calla faced a mandatory gear check. Henry nodded at Ellen, who approached with thinly veiled contempt. She turned Calla's rifle over with a sneer. "This thing's a liability," she muttered. "Looks like it might jam just from breathing on it." She accidentally knocked over the ammo box. The rounds spilled across the dirt. Lauren's voice cut through the silence. "Careful." That antique might be the last of its kind. Calla moved to retrieve her bullets, dirt streaking her jeans. Henry didn't pause the clock. Rules are rules. Keep moving. Her inner monologue was ice. "They think sabotage will break me. They'll see I don't break. I burn." Later, during the mandatory shooter briefing, the elite competitors made their disdain official. As Judge Caldwell outlined the rules, Lauren and a circle of polished shooters tightened together, backs turned toward Calla, shutting her out like an infection. "Keep the antique away," Lauren Stage whispered. "She might jinx our scopes." Laughter rippled. Some brushed imaginary dust from their weapons, as if her presence had contaminated them. Marcus chimed in. "She's probably here to steal brass for scrap." A young shooter, emboldened, tossed a fake entry pass at Calla's feet. It read, "Janitor's guest." Calla bent, picked it up silently. Her knees bore the dirt from the earlier sabotage. Her voice inside was diamond hard. "They isolate me to weaken me. One day they'll fight to stand in my shadow." The crowd watching on the screens seethed. Viewers unfamiliar with Calla but deeply human grew furious. The orchestrated cruelty, the smug superiority, it wasn't just a contest anymore, it was a public crucifixion. Calla didn't flinch. Her nod was slight but final. Her eyes were embers, her thoughts calm. "Mock me now. You'll pray for silence soon." The Heritage Cup's rules were cruel. 10 shots at 300 meters. No scopes, no corrections after the first shot. The bullseye, a needle's eye. Zane stepped up first. His Remington 700 gleamed like a polished mirror. He stood like a statue, years of elite training encoded in every muscle twitch. 10 shots cracked like clockwork. The scoreboard flashed 10.0, 10.0, 10.0, perfect. The crowd burst into celebration. "Whitlock! Whitlock!" echoed through the steel halls. Zane turned to Calla, his smirk ablaze. "Your turn, Relic, or should we fetch you a tissue?" Lauren howled. Marcus banged his glass on the railing. Victor Kane raised his scotch. "To Silverwood's king." Calla stepped onto the line. Her hoodie sagged with defiance. Her rifle, chipped and worn, looked like rebellion incarnate. She said nothing. She needed no words. Her silence was sharper than their noise. The crowd leaned in. Anger now mixed with anticipation. Something was coming. They could feel it. 25 years gone, and the legend's name still cast a long shadow. At the reception, Lauren Holt raised her glass, her voice sharp with derision. "If Nathaniel Reed saw that girl parading around with his rifle," she sneered to a circle of insiders, "he'd renounce the entire sport." Marcus Tate chuckled darkly. "She's just a poser trying to breathe life into a dead man's legend." Henry Caldwell, lingering nearby, leaned in with a smug smile. "Reed was a titan. That kid's not even a footnote. She's an insult to his ghost." Their laughter spread like wildfire, cruel, unchecked. Glasses clinked as guests toasted to real snipers. In the corner, Calla adjusted her gear. She heard every word. Her fingers tightened around her rifle strap. Her spine straightened. The insult sharpened. The cruelty turned personal. Victor Caney, swirling his scotch, gestured toward Calla with a sneer. "Look at that hoodie and those jeans. She dressed from a donation bin?" Lauren sipped her champagne. "She's aiming for rugged, but lands on tragic. No wonder she's alone." A senator's aide chimed in. "Pretty face, but that outfit screams lost and found." Laughter rippled through the lounge.